What the hell is up, everybody? Louis back here again. Finally excited for a fight night. We got UFC 275. You got Glover Teixeira taking on Yuri Prochazka for the 205-pound strap. And then you got Bullet Valentina Shevchenko taking on Taila Santos for the 125 Women's Flyweight Championship. And then you got a #1 contender spot at Women's Strawweight with Zhang Weili and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Bring on the violence. Anyway, quick recap. Last weekend, I did okay. I got like 3 fights wrong. The one that really screwed me was Mike Trizano and Lucas Almeida. Trizano was the one favorite that didn't pull through, and Almeida was the underdog that pulled through. Other than that, I did okay. I threw some money on Ige. I knew that was kind of figured it would go like that, but I tried. And then Rosenstrike, you know, I took a shot on an underdog, sloppy heavyweight, but Volkov looked good, man. Anyway, let's move on to this week. Let's get some money. Let's continue the profit. And let's break it down. Coming from Singapore, should be a fun card. First fight of the night, first fight on the prelims, women's 145 pounds, featherweight. Got Ramona Pascal taking on Jocelyn Edwards. Pascal, she took on Josiane Nunes, her last fight, her UFC debut. In the first round, she landed a leg kick at range. She just winged some hooks whenever she got pressed. She gets pushed down with the left cross whenever she's throwing the knee. But then she gets pushed with a flurry, but she's able to get the double leg when pressed right at the end of the round. Really nifty there, but she kind of got destroyed, so it didn't really do much. But she gets, but whenever she ate some doubles though on the way in, getting that double leg. But you know, she did what she could do. Second round, she skirts along the cage. She lands a left body kick, but she eats a right hook flurry, and she gets dropped from there. But she's a tough lady. She's able to get back up, and then she's able to hit a blast double from open again. I don't think she stole the round, though. Got hit too much. But then in the third round, her double attempts start getting stuffed, a little more telegraphed here, and then she eats some overhand lefts in the pocket. But, you know, she hung in there. She seems like she has some power. I know she landed some decent body kicks, so, you know. And then Jocelyn Edwards, she took on Jessica Clark, her last fight. I believe that was at 135 or 125, but Jocelyn Edwards is not a 145-pounder. In the first round, she gets rushed with the 1-2. She gets taken down with the body lock. She gets clinched to the fence. If she's able to roll through and get around the back standing, she's able to reverse it and get around her back standing, but can't do much with it. And then back in space, she swings wild, and then she gets clinched and drugged down for the remainder of the round. Then in the second round, she's able to slip the jab. She's able to clinch to the fence, but she gets taken down with the high crotch duck. And then she gets put in a full mount and beat up a little bit. Then in the third round, she blitzes, but she gets clinched and taken down with a body lock trip. So, you know, if you take a look, Edwards minus 155, Pascual plus 135. I was thinking Edwards, but 2 things going against Edwards. She's not a true 145er, and she gets taken down, and Pascual can take people down. So I'm going to go with the underdog here. It seems like a decent play. Pascual, maybe not UFC caliber, but I think she has some advantages. My pick here is Ramona Pascal, plus 135, first fight of the night. Let's get this one. Second fight of the night, 115 pounds, women's strawweight. You got LIANG taking on Silvana Gomez-Juarez. LIANG, she took on Ariana Carlosi, her last fight. In the first round, she's able to drop her with the straight right whenever she gets pressed, and then she's able to get the double leg after that. And then she lands a straight right, but she eats some punches in the clinch, but she's able to get the single leg takedown, and then she tries for the armbar, but she gets reversed from there, and then she's able to slide her off the back with the RNC attempt, and then she lands some ground and pound, but she gets put in a top triangle at the end of the round and needs some ground and pound from there, but pretty scrambly, can really mix it up down there. And then in the second round, she tries the headlock, but she gives up her back. Then she gets reversed and put in the full guard and gets TKO'd from ground and pound. So, you know, pretty scrappy, comes to fight, but it looks like she gets a little too overzealous and kind of gets reversed in some positions. Silvana Gomez-Juarez took on Vanessa Demopoulos, her last fight. In the first round, she lands a straight right whenever she gets pressed. She's able to drop Vanessa with the straight right, off a step and a leg kick from Vanessa, but she gets caught in an armbar from guard and taps out. So, you know, she's got power, but, you know, just ring IQ isn't quite there. And, you know, just kind of let Vanessa lock up the armbar. Silvana is minus 140, and LIANG is plus 120. But going back and forth with these 2 opening fights, I want to get the underdogs right. I think Silvana's got the power. I just hope that she learned from her last fight and doesn't get caught in submission. LIANG doesn't have, I mean, not like submission expert or anything. So I think Silvana is going to be able to hurt her on the feet and possibly get a finish, but I'm not that confident. But my pick here is Silvana Gomez-Juarez. All right, first fight on the prelims. You got Kang taking on Dana Bakary. Kang took on Ronnie Yaya his last fight. This was a little while ago, I believe November. In the first round, he lands a jump knee, but he gets taken down with the high crotch to a double. But then he lands some jabs in the pocket when he gets back on his feet. Then he lands a 1-2 from range, and he's able to drop Yaya with the right hook at the end of the round. Really nice work. In the second round, he lands a naked step-in leg kick, and he gets doubled and gets his back taken from there. You know, thrown naked leg kicks kind of sloppy, so not the best IQ there. Then in the third round, he lands some uppercuts and hooks, but he's able to stuff the double attempt, and he's able to get on top, but he gets put in a guillotine, and then he gets his back taken from that position, and he bails from there, but he gives up the half guard position and gets ridden out for the rest of the fight. I thought he looked okay, you know, a little bit of a layoff before that, and then Dana Bakary took on Chris Gutierrez his last fight. In the first round, he eats some leg kicks while he's pressing, of course, from Gutierrez. Then he lands a straight right in the pocket. He eats a straight right, and he gets clinched, but he's able to break off of there. And then he lands a right hook in the pocket, but then he gets clinched again. But then he's able to duck Chris's spinning back fist, and he's able to get around his back, get a mat return, land some nice ground and pound around the back for about 15 seconds. Stills around, in my opinion. So really good IQ from him, actually. And then in the second round, he's throwing hooks from range, and he eats a 1-2, but he's not able to cut him off, and he's missing his shots, and he's just following Chris as opposed to cutting him off at the cage. And then he just walks right into a back fist and gets dropped and TKO'd from there. So I thought he was fighting a pretty decent fight up until that point, and this fight happened in March, the end of March, so it was a vicious knockout, and that's going to play in my decision here. Dana is minus 140, Kang is plus 120. It's a tough one, dude, but, oh, man, I mean, I don't know how much that knockout's going to play into it, but I've been going back and forth on this one. I think I'm going to go with Kang. I think he'll be able to mix up with the grappling a little bit. I think Kang can take a punch. I don't think BATGEREL is going to be all there. I mean, Kang can get in the pocket and land. He hasn't had a nasty uppercut, so we'll see. My pick here is Kang. Second fight on the prelims, 185 pounds, men's middleweight. Brendan Allen taking on Jacob Malkoun. Allen took on Sam Alvey his last fight, up a weight class of 205. In the first round, he pressures towards the cage, but he eats some hooks as he's coming in, but he's able to circle out, avoid damage. But he shoots a double on the fence, but he gets stuffed initially, but then back in space, he eats a straight left when he's inside the pocket. Then he eats a step in right from Alvey, but then he's able to land a straight right off of the clinch break, and then he's able to drop him with a straight right toward the end of the round. So he's really starting to find his groove here, manage the power difference. And then the second round, he lands a body kick in the pocket, lands a short right hook to the body, and then a left hook to the head. He drops him with that, and then he's able to jump on his back, get the rear naked choke submission. So Brendan Allen, really talented grappler, doing more striking than grappling, but, you know, it worked out for him. And then Jacob Malkoun took on AJ Dobson his last fight. In the first round, he eats a 1-2 in the pocket, but then he eats a short right in the clinch. But he's not able to get the double, and then he gets clinched to the fence. And then he eats some knees while he's in the clinch, but then he breaks free, lands a right hook, but he eats a 1-2 in return. But then he's able to get some space, land a head kick in the pocket. Then he eats a body kick, but he grabs a single, and he's not able to finish it, but then he lands some hooks, grabs a single, just does a little flurry there. Decent way to end the first round. Then in the second round, he grabs the high crotch, and he gets on his back and lands some ground and pound from the mount. Really good round for him. Then in the third round, he lands a high crotch. Then he goes to the body lock back trip off the fence, and then gets in half guard and lands some ground and pound. Ends the fight pretty well. Jacob Malkoun plus 250, Brendan Allen minus 320. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Jacob Malkoun, pretty much all grappling. He wears people out over time. Brendan Allen, good grappler, good wrestling defense. I think most of the time it's going to take place on the feet. I think Brendan Allen is the better striker out of the two. I think Malkoun just not evolved enough. I hate this price. And, you know, I was against Allen because he would strike with guys that are good strikers, like Chris Curtis gets knocked out and not use his grappling. Malkoun's not a great striker. So I think his striking, he's going to have the striking advantage here. I think it's going to favor him wanting to go for striking. Wanted to focus on the striking. I think he'll be able to dig to the body, pressure him, and defend Malkoun's takedown attempts. So my pick here is Brendan Allen. I hate the price, but it is what it is. Okay, let's go co-main event of the prelims. You got MAHESHATE taking on Steve Garcia. MAHESHATE took on Achilles as Drew Medora his last fight on the Contender Series. In the first round, he gets blitzed with hooks, but he lands some straight rights in return. Then he gets dropped to the left hook and a right cross, but he's able to pop back up. Some tenacity in this guy. But then he's able to land a straight right, but he gets rocked with a left hook in return. And then he's able to close the distance, and he eats some hooks though. But you know, he's got a decent chin on him, so not a good first round for him. But he bounces back. In the second round, he lands some front kicks and jabs at range when he gets pressed with hooks. But then he's able to circle out and avoid the damage. He's able to time Achilles a little bit better. And then he lands a jump knee from range, and then a hook flurry, and I think that kind of seals him the round there. And then you can see Achilles, his gas tank sort of drop off a little bit. And then in the third round, he stalks at range. Then he lands some leg and body kicks. Then he lands a jump knee on the cage again, but then he walks into a right hook. But you know, I thought he had a decent performance. You know, first round's a little tough for him. I think if he can get out of the first round, I think he builds over the course of the fight. And then Steve Garcia took on Charlie Ontiveros his last fight. In the first round, he walks into axe kick and he gets dropped with a straight left as he's rushing in. But he's able to get the double leg takedown off of the fence there. Ontiveros a little too overzealous. And then he's in the north-south position, kind of trying to recover and just land some elbows. Nothing crazy, but, you know, makes a case that he could win the first round. I don't think he did, though, but, you know, kind of salvages it. Then in the second round, he lands a lunge overhand left, but he gets rocked with a check hook. But then he's able to get that double leg again, gets in a full mount, and gets a TKO. So, you know, the dude can eat some shots. Hassier can eat some shots too, so it should be interesting. Steve Garcia minus 180. MAHESHATE plus 155. I don't know, dude. I really don't. Hassier making his debut. It was a wild fight with Garcia, but the line's not too wide. I think Garcia will be able to use his wrestling a little bit. I just think he has to avoid the big shots and the flying knee of Hassier. I think he'll be able to do that. Might not be a pretty fight. I might be wrong. Who knows? Contender Series guys are always like 50-50. My pick here is Steve Garcia. Reluctantly, but that's my pick. All right. The main event of the prelims, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. You got Sungwoo Choi taking on Joshua CULIBAO. Should be a banger. Choi took on Alex Caceres his last fight. Big step up in competition for him. In the first round, he eats a head kick at range, but then he lands a heavy right cross combination. He throws a heavy right cross combination, but he misses it. Alex Caceres able to back out of range. But then he's able to square up again, and then he drops him with the right cross off of Alex's leg kick. But then he lands that illegal knee when Alex is coming up. So, you know, red flag for me for ring IQ, but he's a newer fighter, so I guess it is what it is. But he could have got the finish there, so he kind of screwed himself. But then back on the feet after the time and everything, he lands a step in straight right, and then he's able to stalk Caceres, and then he lands a straight right off of Alex's leg kick. So 9-9 round, should have won the round. And then in the second round, though, falls off a little bit. He's too short with his head kick attempt and his straight rights. Caceres is moving out of range, dodging. Then he stalks and lands a straight right in the pocket. Then he lands a body kick and a straight right. But then he lands a body kick and his straight right gets ducked by Caceres. And then he just gets backpacked instantly like that. Caceres is a very good grappler, and then submitted with a rear naked choke. So, you know, I thought he looked really good the first round. Second round, I wouldn't say he fell off. I just think he got a little too overconfident and extended himself too much, and, you know, probably underestimated what Caceres could do when he had his back. So it is what it is, but Caceres, a savvy veteran, been fighting for a long time. CULIBAO took on Shia Yilon his last fight. In the first round, he gets clinched to the fence, and he gives up his back standing, gets drugged down to the mat, but he's able to sit out and gets up relatively quickly, so that was good to see. And then he presses, and he starts landing, and he lands a 1-2 in the first round. Then in the second round, he's on the pumps jabs on the outside, but then he gets blitzed with a single, and he gets shot against the fence, but he's able to break off. Good defense there. But then he lands a right cross in the pocket, and then he jabs and lands a straight right. But then he gets shot to the fence again, but he switches, and he's able to get around his back and get into the mat return. So, well, Choi's not really a wrestler, but if they do get into grappling exchanges, I think I would favor CULIBAO. against the fence there. And then in the third round, he jabs with some 1s, 2s and some calf kicks. But then he gets clinched and he gives up his back standing. But he's able to get out of the single attempt with a darce. Doesn't really get it, but he used it to get out of that position. So that was good to see. You know, a little bit more of a scrambly fight. I would give the power advantage to Sung Woo Choi. The line, CULIBAO plus 190, Sung Woo Choi minus 235. You know, I'm going to go with Sung Woo Choi. Hopefully he learns his lesson from Caceres. I know CULIBAO might be better in the grappling department, but I think Woo Choi will be able to stay away from that aspect, stay off the fence, keep straight shots, and you know, if he hurts a guy, maybe not rush into him so much. Knockout, I don't know, maybe, but you know, minus 235. Don't really love the price, but my pick here is Sung Woo Choi. And let's see if I can find. And then also I would, so I don't know what the exact line is, but better than 235. If you want to go for Sung Woo Choi by knockout, I think that's a good pick. Sung Woo Choi. If you want to take Sung Woo Choi by knockout TKO DQ, it's plus 175. Not a bad bet. Throw a couple bucks on there. All right, first fight on the main card. Things got shuffled around a bit, but here's the lineup. You got Jack Della Maddalena taking on Ramazan EMEEV at welterweight, 170 pounds. Maddalena took on Pete Rodriguez his last fight. In the first round, he presses with jabs, but he eats a straight right. But then he lands a jab, then a left cross. He lands a jab, but he eats a step-in right hook in return. But then he's able to step back on the hook attempt, get out of range, and then he lands a left cross and drops him and gets a TKO. Not much to it. Maddalena's fights haven't been super long, but beautiful jab and pinpoint accuracy, basically. Then Ramazan EMEEV took on Danny Roberts his last fight. In the first round, he gets a high crotch crackdown, takedown from range. Back on the feet, he slips the jab and then lands a right hook. Then he lands a counter right hook whenever he gets pressed. Then the second round, he gets pressed, but he eats a left hook in the striking exchange. Then he's able to reverse the clinch, gets around his back standing. But then he eats a short left hook back in space, but he's able to get the collar tie and avoid some of the damage. And then he gets a high crotch crackdown again from space. And then he tries the darce, but Roberts is able to get up. And short time left, I guess, but, you know, I don't think he was going to get it. So then in the third round, his high crotch attempt gets stuffed this time, but then he eats some knees in the collar tie. Then he lands a head kick at range, gets the high crotch. His high crotch attempt gets stuffed again, and then he gets clinched this time. Then he gets pressed with hooks toward the end of the round. So EMEEV plus 135, Maddalena minus 155, relatively close here. I wouldn't say Maddalena is first round or bust, but, you know, I think his better chances are in the first round, second round, but I think he would be able to jab him up. His takedown defense is okay, hasn't really been tested a ton, but I like Maddalena here. I think he'll be able to jab him up, keep it on the feet. I think as long as he can stop a takedown or two, I think EMEEV might get caught up and try and get him to the ground, especially when he gets cracked a few times. And if you want to go Maddalena by KO, plus 275, can't go wrong there. Jack Della Maddalena. All right, second fight on the main card. We got another fun welterweight matchup, 170 pounds. You got Andre Fialho taking on Jake Matthews. Fialho fought a couple months ago. This guy just keeps on fighting, which I like. He took on Cameron Van Camp his last fight. In the first round, he pressures to the fence, pumps his jab. Then he lands a double jab, but he misses with the right cross and misses the left hook, but he gets rocked with it, and he gets rocked with a counter right hook for his troubles, but then he's able to land a check left hook after that, so get a little bit of a scrap there. Then he gets pushed back with some hooks, but he lands a counter left hook off of Van Camp's uppercut and gets the knockout. You know, Van Camp, newcomer to the UFC, not the toughest test, but he gets a first-round knockout. What else can you really ask for? And it was beautiful, and it was devastating. Then Jake Matthews took on Sean Brady. This was a while ago, over a year ago, I believe. Now, Sean Brady, not the best striking, but some decent striking exchanges in this fight. In the first round, he's at range, lands a step-in 1-2. Then he lands a step-in hook to the body on Brady, and he's able to catch Brady's kick. It lands a straight right and pushes him down, but he gets reversed into side control right away. So, you know, but Sean Brady. In the second round, he jabs at range, and he moves in, lands a jab, and then a right overhand. And then he stands at range, but he gets doubled. And then in the third round, he gets rocked to the left hook when he's coming in. But then he lands a jab and an overhand from range, but he bites on Brady's fake his double attempt, and then he gets his back taken with like front headlock snap down position, and then he eats some ground and pound, and then submits to an arm triangle. So doing okay on the feet in the first round. FIALHO, not really a grappler, so Jake Matthews plus 125, FIALHO minus 145. Relatively close line here again. Matthews has been off for a while. Kind of can't really get over the hump, I guess you would say. FIALHO, newcomer, lost to Michel Pierre off short notice. After that, he's been on a winning streak, been knocking people out. I think they're going to get in there and mix it up. I don't really see, I guess, you know, Matthews better grappler than FIALHO. We'll see how FIALHO's takedown defense is. I hope it's okay. It hasn't really been tested too much. I think FIALHO will be able to keep him off with some jabs and maybe land a big shot when he gets in there. And then Matthews with that long way off, that's another red flag, I guess. So my pick here is Andre FIALHO minus 145, and then Andre FIALHO by knockout plus 120 if you want some extra action. The feature fight of the main card, the rematch every single person wanted. 115 pounds, women's strawweight. You got Zhang Weili taking on Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And now they're going to break down the fight. They had a fight over two years ago. Amazing, violent, razor thin. Flip a coin, that's who won that fight. I'm just going to focus on intangibles here. You know, there's just too many. I get too many intangibles that line up for me to pick Weili. Weili has fought since that time. Yes, she got knocked out by Rose, but she comes back, has a pretty close fight with Rose. She's out of wrestling to her game. Joanna has been off for 2 years. And then Zhang won the last fight. I know it was razor close, but still. So that should give her confidence boost. And, you know, the line's not too crazy for me to pick Joanna. Joanna's plus 130, Zhang minus 150. I'm just going to go with Zhang. I think that wrestling is going to make a difference. This fight's only 3 rounds. I guess you could say that would maybe favor Joanna if she lights her up in the striking. Maybe stuffs Zhang's early takedowns, but I'm just going to go with Zhang, man. It's still women's MMA, high-level women's MMA. You never really know. I think the layoffs don't matter as much in women's, but I just can't pick Joanna. There's just no reason. There's no evidence to suggest she'd win this fight. I might be dead wrong. I might eat my own foot, but it is what it is. Zhang Weili, minus 150, and then Weili by decision, plus 130. I think that's how it's going to go. I think the wrestling is going to make a difference. Zhang Weili. All right, on to the co-main event. 125 pounds, women's flyweight. For the strap, Valentina Bullet Shevchenko taking on Taila Santos. Santos is next in line. Let's see what happens. Shevchenko took on Lauren Murphy her last fight. In the first round, she lands a right over top of Lauren's jab. She from range, she steps in, lands some body kicks, 1-2 leg kick, combination she used frequently throughout the fight. Then she lands a back fist and then a head kick at range. Overhand right and then a body lock takedown in the first round. Second round, she dips under Lauren's punch, gets the collar tie, and then she gets the single. Lauren shoots a single on her against the fence, but then she's able to get out of it, obviously. Pretty good takedown defense. And then she gets pressed, but she's able to get the body lock trip into half guard when Lauren's coming into her. In the third round, she lands a counter left hook off of Lauren's jab. She lands a 1-2 leg kick, pressing forward. Then she lands a body kick, and then she ducks Lauren's Superman punch, and then she clinches her to the fence. You know, Lauren just kind of throwing stuff out there. And then in the fourth round, she jabs at range, lands a body kick. She lands a right hook off of Lauren's leg kick, and then rocks her with the head kick. Lauren dips down, hits the leg kick, and then she blitzes against the fence, just unloading on her. Then she gets the body lock takedown into half guard, ground and pound. Takes her time, settles in a little bit, some nasty elbows. The ref saw enough. So she took her time, but, you know, she pretty much ran over her, and, you know, she had a counterattack for everything Lauren threw at her. Taila Santos took on Joanne Wood her last fight. In the first round, she eats some leg kicks, but she presses with the 1-2. She stalks at range, but then she eats a 1-2 from Joanne coming in. She lands a step in, right cross, counter off Joanne's jab, off Joanne's straight shot, and then a jab, and then she she presses the jab in the pocket, and then she lands a leg kicks at range, and then she eats some jabs in the pocket, but she drops Joanne with the overhand right off of her jab, and then she gets into a tie, lands a little bit of ground and pound against the fence. They get up, she gets that tie clinch, and then she breaks off into space, and then she lands an overhand right left hook 2 times and drops her, and then she's able to take her back, get both hooks in, takes her time a little bit, and then she just gets the rear naked choke submission. So I really liked that she wasn't just kind of loading on her, and she used what she's good at, her submission game. And, you know, Joanne Wood is a veteran. She's obviously past her prime, but I thought she fought very well. Santos plus 450, Shevchenko minus 630. You know, I don't think Tyla is ready. I think she's like the next woman up, but, you know, Joanne Wood was like one of the top women in the division, so she rolled over her, so she gets a title shot. I just think 125 isn't super deep, but it is what it is. I guess she earned it. I just don't see any evidence that would for Tyla to win. I mean, upsets happen all the time, like Pena and Nunes, but, you know, I was dead wrong on that one. But the line isn't super, super wide here, you know, so yeah, my pick's Valentina Shevchenko. I think as the fight goes on, she's going to probably drag Santos into deep waters and get the takedown. Santos kind of rushes in a little bit. I think she might be able to get that body lock like she did on Lauren and just chip away over time. But under 3.5 is plus 145. I still think that's in play. If you want, the overs is minus money, so I don't really see the point in that. But Shevchenko by finish plus 120. I just couldn't pick submission or KO. So finish plus 120. I think there's decent odds. My pick here is Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko. The main event of the evening, 205 pounds, men's lightweight for the strap. You got Glover Teixeira taking on Yuri Denisa Prochazka. Yuri's been waiting a little over a year for this fight. So, you know, let's get on with the 205-pound division. Teixeira took on Jan Blachowicz his last fight. In the first round, he's at range, and he's able to back out of range of Jan's jabs, and he throws an overhand. Then he goes for the high crotch, switches off to a double, takes him down off of the fence. Pretty beautiful. And then he gets in a full guard. Doesn't do too much, but lands some nasty elbows. Uses that can opener. Not really a submission, but just makes it really rough on Jan. Just dirty and nasty. And obviously wins the first round. Then the second round, he's at range. He eats some jabs, but he shoots a single, but he's not able to get it. Jan's doing a better job of defending, but he pressures forward, and then he walks into a left hook from Jan. But then he eats an uppercut in the pocket, but he lands a straight right, and he shoots, but he gets put in double unders from Jan. Again, Jan doing a lot better job, but, you know, I think Glover looked really comfortable there, so nothing crazy. And then he lands straight to the body, and he slips Jan's uppercut, and then he rocks Jan with the check left hook. But then he's kind of rushing him. Then he eats an uppercut and then a left cross. But he's able to get the crackdown, takedown against the fence. Jan goes for a Kimura inexplicably. Terrible ring IQ. And then Glover's able to transition into full mount. And then Jan just turns over, gives his back, and Glover gets the rear naked choke really fast. You know, Jan didn't really look all there that night, or didn't expect Glover to rush to come out as hot as he did. But nonetheless, Glover gets the victory with submission second round. Can't knock him for that. Wins the title. Then Yuri Prochazka took on Dominic Reyes his last fight. This was last May. In the first round, he stalks, and then he steps in with a wild right hook. And then he lands a step-in uppercut, and then the front kick. And then his hands are down. Then he eats a straight left from Reyes. But then he lands a right cross off of Reyes' kick. And then he lands a step-in cross. But it gets slipped, and he gets taken down with the body lock. But he's able to bridge out of it. So, but I think Glover's a lot better than Reyes on the ground. But still, you know, Yuri's got some get-up game there. And then he lands a 1-2, and then a flurry off of Dom's step-in left. But then he eats a right hook while he's in the flurry. But, you know, he's a wild man, and he was eating some punches during these flurries, and he seems like he can take them. So, and then in the second round, he lands a step-in jab from range. He's able to slip Reyes' hooks, and he circles back and goes right at him again. Then he lands a right hook off of Reyes' kick, lands a front kick, and then a left hook. and then he chases, but he eats a back fist, but again, he doesn't care, and then he gets rocked with a straight left when he's pressing, and then you know how he's really hurt because he takes a desperation double, and then Reyes fucked up, in my opinion, just pulls guillotine, which that's not going to work. So I think Reyes possibly could have finished it or really hurt him, but it is what it is. But he's able to escape the guillotine, gets out of it, lands some hard ground and pound for Reyes' troubles. And then back on the feet, up against the cage, Yuri cuts him off, and he lands a downward elbow, and then he turns his back, and then lands a spinning back elbow, and knocks Dominic Reyes the fuck out. So that's how that went. I thought Reyes looked pretty decent. I thought when Yuri was pressuring, I thought Dom was landed some hard straight shots. I thought Yuri got hurt a little bit in this fight. Yuri minus 200, Glover plus 170. This is more of like a value play than anything because Glover's the defending champion. Yuri hasn't fought in a year, and he looked okay on the ground against Reyes, but he can get taken down. And if Glover takes you down, I don't think you're getting back up unless Glover wants to light you up, which I don't think he will. I think it's going to be a hard first and second, possibly second round for Glover. But I mean, Glover took Thiago Santos' best shots, and yes, I guess he has a chin and he doesn't have a chin. He gets rocked and dropped pretty easily, but he's able to recover, and it's been really hard to finish him lately. Again, in the Anthony Smith fight, he got his face jabbed off and just stuck around and, built some momentum and was able to take control of the fight. So my pick here is Glover Teixeira. I think after the first and second round, I think if it gets out of there, I think he's going to wear on Yuri. I think he's going to be able to take him down. And then, Glover might be able to catch him coming in too with some hooks. He caught Jan. He hits pretty hard. People kind of forget that. But if you want some extra action, Glover, submission plus 350. I like that one. Or just by finish, plus 250. Can't really go wrong there. I think a submission, I really doubt it's going to go all 5 rounds, but you never know. But finish plus 250, or the sub plus 350, or just straight up money line plus 170. I think that's the value. I like Glover. I think he's getting underestimated. I think he's disrespected. Glover's my guy. All right, everybody, thanks for riding with me. I appreciate it. Finally had a good week last week. Looking to make it another good week. Hopefully perfect. It's kind of hard to do that, but I'm going to do it eventually. Anyway, check the description. Check my social, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff. If you have a question, or if you want to let me know your plays, I'm all here for it. I'm always down to learn. Leave a comment down below. Share this with people. If you're just looking for some quick picks, or if you're just interested in the main events, you could win some decent cash. So, appreciate it. Should be a fun pay-per-view. Last weekend's card was fun, but didn't get me excited. This has me really excited. Card itself isn't that great, but the main event, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Let's see what happens at 205, man. That's like one of the more interesting divisions just because of there's no stability, I feel like. So I'm excited for that. Always excited to see Valentina fight, and then Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I mean, come on. That first fight, arguably one of the best fights of all time. So let's see some violence. Let's see some upsets, and let's see some money. Thanks, guys.